Top 5 Scariest Things About Flying. Thousands of planes fly through our skies each day. Air transport has made this big world of ours smaller, bridging countries and continents, bringing people together and making international business possible. Through the years, aviation has made giant steps in making air travel as safe as it could be. Airplane makers have made significant advances to ensure the safety of their passengers. However, there are unseen incidents that make your flying experience downright scary. Here are the top 5 scariest things that can happen to you while flying. Number 5. Pilot error. Though training to become a pilot is a very long and extensive process, some plane crashes are still attributed to pilot error. It used to be that when you boarded a plane, you were putting your life in the hands of two pilots, but nowadays with the advances in modern aviation, planes can fly themselves, reducing the human error factor less than what it was before. If such error occurs on your flight, just stay calm and be confident to know that the plane will correct whatever errors the pilots may have committed. This may not be the scariest thing that can happen while flying, but it sure can still rattle up some passengers. Number 4. Diseases. It seems that nowadays, a new disease is being discovered every day, and with each new discovery, the diseases become stronger and more resistant to antidotes. The environment on board a plane, where many people are closed in a small space, is the perfect breeding ground for these diseases, so while you might not even know it is happening, you could be contracting a deadly disease while sitting on the plane. Before traveling, make sure you check the travel advisories issued by health departments or the WHO, World Health Organization, against traveling to certain places. In the case of a disease outbreak, don't travel unless you really have to, and if you do, make sure you get proper protection like a mask that should be worn at all times. Don't just use any face mask, make sure that you get the ones that can protect you from viruses and diseases. They are usually endorsed by the World Health Organization or your home country's government. Number 3. Turbulence. This one never fails to receive screams and prayers from passengers, especially first-time flyers. Turbulence means the violent or irregular motion or swirling agitation of air. This is an unpleasant but familiar experience among frequent flyers. Turbulence yanks the plane up and down, left and right, and if you don't have your seat belt fastened, you could meet the ceiling with a bang. This experience makes it to the list simply because it comes as a surprise to passengers. There is no warning for this, making this one of the scariest things a first-time flyer can experience. Turbulence can also result in injury, simply because so many people do not obey the airline's suggestion to fasten your seatbelt while seated, even when the fasten seatbelt sign is turned off. Nowadays, all planes are built to withstand a little turbulence, so you don't really have to worry. Just be calm, stay in your seat and make sure that you have your seatbelt on. Number 2. Crash landings. Imagine hearing this message from your pilot: please put your seat belts on, we are about to have an emergency landing, on water. If this is not one of the scariest things about flying, then I don't know what is. Seeing smoke coming from one of the jet engines, flight attendants running up and down the aisle trying to get everyone to don their oxygen masks, making sure everyone has their seat belt on, leads to a situation where calmness is replaced by panic. At this point, everyone is screaming, praying in different languages, undoubtedly one of the scariest things you can imagine when flying, and possibly the scariest situation you will ever encounter in your life. Panic will not get you anywhere in situations like this. Just remember that the pilots and the cabin crew are fully trained on how to react in these kind of situations. Passengers yelling and screaming will not help in any way, so stay in your seat, remain calm and follow everything the pilot and cabin crew tells you to do. Number 1. Hijackers. This one comes right out of an action movie. Armed men get past security and board the plane. The sight of several armed men running the plane will definitely prove to be the scariest flying experience you can have. Armed men with machine guns, grenades, and knives not only take the passengers hostage, but also take control of the plane, removing the pilots from the cockpit. Hijackers always have demands. If those aren't met, be prepared to stay up in the air until fuel runs low and a crash landing may be required. There is nothing you can do in this kind of situation but be calm and avoid sudden movements, as this might draw unwanted attention from the hostage takers. Stay in your seat and hope and pray that everything works out fine. Despite this definitive top 5 list, the fact remains that flying is a very safe experience nowadays, and your chances of dying on an airplane or indeed encountering most of the things on this list are minimal. Nevertheless, threats from terrorists are increasing, particularly on flights entering the United States. Before traveling, make use of the alerts and warnings around you, news stories and other travel information, to make sure your flying experience is as safe as it can be.